this fucking guy, has the audacity to send me a gift from Ted and say, I have a lot of fucking problems, don't I? Like I'm fucking Giovanni Ribisi's Donnie character from fucking the first Ted movie, who was later reprised in the second movie, also by Giovanni Ribisi. You know, we got Giovanni Ribisi, but we couldn't get Mila Kunis. What do you think that is?
God. Hey, that's fair. Mila Kunis, I think you made the right decision. I love the Ted movies, but I think Mila Kunis was ready to move on.
I think that she was pregnant, and that's the reason why she didn't reprise her role. But I really love Ted too. I think it might be my favorite of the two Teds. It's the one I've seen the most, I will say that. And welcome to the Say Report. After a minute of dinking and docking around, docking around, no one entered the front of their penis into the other's foreskin. I'm quite certain we're both circumcised, not that I've checked, but...
How long can I let you hang yourself?
Oh, dude, I don't give a shit. You know what? This is going to be a weird episode. I'm Devon Decker, and this is going to be a weird episode. And this is the show that gave you an episode called Weird Wet Hole.
Yeah.
This is going to be a weird episode because I'm all over right now.
Weird I am wet all to the moistening.
Well, to be fair, it is called the Sequel Report. So you can consider this a sequel to Weird Wet Hole, which the fact that it took us 76 episodes to do a report about sequels, kind of crazy. But Sejan, you're Sejan. Do you want to introduce yourself, or do you want me to keep hanging myself?
Did you even introduce yourself, or did we just throw somebody brand new whole hog into this insanity?
Oh, I definitely said Devon Decker. I said I was Devon Decker briefly,
okay,
but quick. I did.
He was
Gilmore
only Devon
speech.
Decker for a second, gentlemen. No, I am Sejan Sarowik. Yes, I am here as well, and I will be Sejan Sarowik for the remainder of the episode. Yeah.
Good. I can't have you flipping and flopping around. We don't need you getting replaced by Amanda Siegfried, though I think she'd do a wonderful job playing your character.
Okay, man. Wow. All right. So where are we, Devon? What's going on?
Here's where we are. And this is a preamble for what we're going to be talking in a bit, but then we're going to go on a really wide detour.
Okay.
This weekend, at the Warwick Mall Theater, right? Because there are two movie theaters in Warwick, which is very, very confusing if you're trying to meet someone for a movie in Warwick, Rhode Island. Because to me, if you tell me we're going to go see it at the Warwick Theater, that means the one that's in East Greenwich.
Well, see, now he's made a bit of a mistake there.
Oh, did I? Did I make a mistake?
Yeah, he went to the wrong town.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's on Quaker Lane in East Greenwich, but it's called the Warwick Showcase.
There's a lot of Rhode Island going on in this conversation right now, so I want to apologize to our non-Rhode Island listeners, but I do want to point out that these are only problems Rhode Islanders have. First of all, when you're so upset that your town only is big enough to merit two theaters, that's a problem that only people in Rhode Island would complain about, because there's plenty of towns in the world where they're big enough to merit two theaters.
No movie theaters.
Well, and then there's also that. But then the other problem is the state is so small that you have two towns that are overlapping each other, which is why you're going to the wrong theater.
Well, I'm not going to the wrong theater. I'm just saying it's a problem. There's two Stop and Shops in Warwick. I mean, that's the real fucked up thing. And both of them are on Route 1. Both of them are on Post Road.
I know. They battle each other every Sunday out in the streets. It's madness.
But that's crazy to me because in other states besides Rhode Island, this was not what this was going to be about. Like I said, wacky episode. You would not drive down the same road for less than 15 minutes and hit the same store.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it.
No, not in Rhode Island.
No, in Rhode Island, nope. You get up.
You drive down the street and you end up 3 towns away, is what you do in Rhode Island.
But not Route 1, where you're still in Warwick that whole time, and there's two Stop and Shops. I've never gotten it. Actually, technically, it's Route 1A, I think, but that's not important. No one's driving around based on my directions. So they have the two movie theaters, right? And Warwick, or East Greenwich, they've sort of become the art house theater. Right now, they have Won't You Be My Neighbor playing there. They still have Gotti playing there. That's the place you want to go if you want to see, small run films. Okay. And Warwick Mall, which if you're seeing a movie at the Warwick Mall, why wouldn't you say we're going to Warwick Mall?
Yeah.
Because to me, that means, oh, good, we're seeing a movie at that, and maybe I can get something from the food court. Maybe I can ride Dick Carousel.
You need a
Maybe
little
more
something
local
more.
references.
Devin needs something to really bring him to a theater now. He needs a theater with a good hook. So
I mean,
you
no,
don't give him
like
that.
because Warwick, the good hook is, oh, I can see Gotti. But
Well,
Warwick Mall,
is that the good hook?
that's what I'm saying though. That's like the thing, like because Warwick Mall currently is all of the showtimes there, except for Uncle Drew and Tag, are sequels.
Oh.
Like everything, it's Deadpool 2, Solo, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, Sicario, Day of the Soldado, and another one I don't remember.
Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do the old man like nothing in Hollywood's original
No,
anymore
that's
episode?
not what I'm talking about because it's I
Okay.
don't care that it's just like it really just identifies those two theaters to me. That one of them is like, yeah, we're here to make money. We're by the mall.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
we don't allow more than 4 teenagers to congregate together.
Oh, it's one of those places. All right.
So like they're there to make money. They want all the money making movies in Solo. And then Warwick they're like content to have that. So you get different breeds of people there. But like I'm not even upset about that. It's just the fact that over the last 3 days I saw 4 sequels. Not counting the fact that when I came home yesterday, I watched from like the middle of Kingsman: The Golden Circle till the end.
Nice.
So like it's been a sequel-filled weekend for Devon Decker, and we're gonna talk about it. But before that, Sejim,
Yeah.
do you have anything?
Well, it's actually funny that you mentioned this because I also found myself down a little bit of a sequel hole this week. I decided to. It's the beginning of the summer around here in these parts. I don't know about the rest of the world, but we are getting kind of into like laid back chill time in Ohio, and I don't know why, but for 2 months every year the state shuts down. Like any business that you work in Ohio, they will tell you, oh no, July and August, nothing happens. Slowest time of the year, we cut back on hours, we cut back on hiring, everything, right? So my current job, the restaurant that I'm working at, has announced that after the 4th of July, of which we are taking like 3 days off, the restaurant's just closed for 3 days because nobody's around. They're also saying that once we get back, we're going to be on like a much more truncated schedule and stuff, right? So I was just like, well, this is great. Now, what am I going to do to prep for this summer vacation I have in front of me? So I decided to go out and pick up some gaming. And the first thing that I picked up, and the first thing that I popped in, I have no justification for this other than it's Batman. I grabbed Arkham Knight.
Why did you buy Arkham Knight?
Well,
why would
I played
you
it
do
when it first
that?
came out. I played it when it first came out, right? And that was the last time I played it. Like I played it through 100%ed everything through all the Joker challenges, everything, Riddler challenges and everything, right? So like I went balls to the wall on it when it first came out in a way that nobody else at the time was doing, right? Not for lack of like, like I wasn't completely ignorant to the problems of that game. Like it's not like I was like fighting everybody tooth and nail who was talking about all the issues of that game. God, no, it had its issues. But we've talked about this before. I fell deep into the Arkham City stuff, and like Arkham Asylum was actually like a revelation for me with games. Like I didn't play like video games for a while before before Arkham Asylum came out. Like there was a long period where I started to wonder if maybe I just didn't like video games anymore. And like Arkham Asylum is the game that brought me back into it, which might explain why I've just had this like weird like familial love for those games. So even Arkham Knight at its worst, and even Arkham Origins is one that like I have gone back to a couple of times. And Arkham Knight, this is my first going back. This is the first time out of all of the games in that series of me going back, including even the side-scrolling one that they did. I've actually got that.
Stop, collaborate, and listen for just 1 second. Arkham Origins or Arkham Knight? Which is the Fredo of the Arkham Godfather family?
Arkham Origins. Okay. Arkham Origins full and through and through. Arkham Knight, if you want to talk about the way that like the way they treated the fans like in that way, but in terms of actually like if you take it in a vacuum, just step back and look at it as like what is the Arkham series and what is the Arkham series trying to do? No, Arkham Origins falls on its face every time. Like it's a different team trying to latch onto something. They get a ton of stuff wrong, and Arkham Origins is definitely not the one that fits in. Also, it's the only one out of the entire series where they set a bunch of crap up, but because they never got to make a sequel or anything, none of it ever pays off. So it's a bunch of like introductions of really cool concepts and characters that you never see resolution to, which if you played Arkham City, you know, like that happened a ton in that, a ton of stuff that they were like opening up. But then Arkham Knight came along and closed, you know, and actually followed through on some of that stuff. So like, yeah, Arkham Origins still sticks out like a sore thumb. No, the problems with Arkham Knight though are through and through. It's performance. Like there's two big issues that I have with that game. Is it's the only one of the stories that I don't love, and the technical glitches are unfucking forgivable. I don't know if you saw my thing on Twitter this weekend, but like straight up, the first time you go into Barbara Gordon's clock tower and you go and meet her was completely unwatchable for me because the rainstorm effects from out on the streets of Gotham had somehow followed me into the building, and like it looked like static on my screen. I couldn't see half of her apartment. Also, the whole point of her as Oracle is that she's surrounded by all of this tech, and I'm just watching it all just drenched in rain, just thinking, well, this is just ridiculous.
All it takes is one bad day, too. So we're lucky that things did not go worse for you with that situation. Yeah, the crazy thing about that is that Arkham Knight came out 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So they haven't patched that stuff either? Or did you play it without patching?
No, so essentially what happened is I got the PS4 version, which out of all of the versions was actually the least affected. So I think it's just gotten the least attention in terms of like fixing shit. It was not perfect when it came out, but it was by far the best version to play out of all of them. PC being the unplayable one.
Yeah, I mean, like I will admit that I bought that game just like I didn't want to own that game. And I did this thing that I didn't do. I didn't end up doing this, where I was able to get the disc out of the box without removing any of the shrink wrap. Because I don't know how. Like, it was like one of the most inspired things I'd ever done. So I got the disc out and I popped it in, and I liked the game so much that I ended up like, no, screw the shrink wrap. I'm doing this. I want to own this game. And that was because I played it on PS4 amongst a cacophony of people saying, Arkham Knight is unplayable.
Yeah, no, yeah, and the thing is the PS4 version wasn't unplayable, right? So like, I think that honestly, it's just kind of been left in the wind in terms of all of the fixes that they did do, and I don't think that they're bothering to fix anything else. You know, that controversy got so bad that they ended up straight up just issuing like refunds to people, and I think that that's at that point you're saying we're not going to bother fixing any more of this, right? When it's like, never mind, just have your money back. That's cheaper than us spending time fixing it. I wouldn't have expected anything to change after that. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a hard game for me to wrap my head around, which is part of the reason I wanted to go back to it, right? And surprised that I hadn't already, because it's my favorite Batman story of all time. And I guess spoiler alerts for Arkham Knight, 3-year-old game. But it's a retelling of the Red Hood story, right? And
I knew that. I'm like,
right,
don't tell me who the Arkham Knight is, though.
Yeah,
I don't want to know his identity.
Yeah, it's a retelling of the Red Hood story, which, say what you will, they also did that really shitty thing that J.J. Abrams does all the time. When they got called out on that like a month before release, they were all like, no, not that, wink wink, and then it was that, right? Like, it's not Khan at all. Fuck you, J.J.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams is the guy we want as an enemy. Good choice. Good choice. We've gone pretty much controversy free. But then, like, we're going to start swinging at J.J. Abrams. We're going to wind up in a fucking hatch somewhere.
Yeah. Well, if you want to make another Cloverfield spin-off movie, I won't say no. Let me put that out there, too. But no, it's one of those things where, like, they blatantly lied about the story when some of the marketing kind of led people to realize what was really going on with that. You know, like they stupidly released by accident some DLC title that had like Jason Todd's name in it, and everybody's just like, well, wait a minute. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe not the smartest way to go about it. But as we've seen just today, DC's not really great at keeping shit under wraps anyway. So,
what happened today?
Did you not hear about it? Oh my God. Well, forget 4th of July. 4th of July is canceled, Devon. Batman and Catwoman are not getting married.
What the fuck?
4th of July is canceled because Batman and Catwoman are getting married.
I mean, to be fair, I did see the Catwoman thing where she's like, I do or I don't. I hope you read Batman 50.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. DC paid for some or put into place some quote unquote leakage. I don't know. Like, I don't know what they call it anymore because it's not technically a leak when the company knows it's happening. But the New York Times did a write up on the issue that came out yesterday that basically blew the entire like twist of the story and straight up titled it. So even if you didn't read the article, just seeing the headline was going to fuck you. Basically, titles like Wedding of the Century not happening. Right. And it's just like, well, great. Guess we don't have to go pick up that issue now. And like everybody's just like, why would you do this? We've been waiting a year to see the resolution of this story, and you blew it in a fucking New York Times article that DC sanctioned. It's not even like the writer accidentally stumbled and put something out DC didn't intend. DC wanted this out there. And according to their dude, he gave like some 5-point reason. Their talking head gave some 5-point reason as to why they felt that was a good idea, but one of them was straight up just like, we didn't want people to be shocked at the issue or something. And it's like, are you kidding me? That's exactly what you want. That's called readership. All right. Anyway. Yeah. So DC's not great at this whole like understanding what their fans actually want thing, which might explain a thing or two about the DC movie universe. But yeah.
I need to tell you something like awesome. I saw a bunch of allusions to a New York Times article and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what happened? Like, what happened in the world? I'm going to stay in a little bubble. I'm not going to look it up.
And then I popped that bubble.
I'm so happy that you popped that bubble because, like, this is nothing. Like, I hate to be that guy who's like, sorry about your fandom, but, like, you know, kids being ripped away from their parents.
Yeah,
and, like,
but yeah,
it's DC continuing to do what DC does. I mean, that's disappointing. And yes, if you were looking forward to it, I'm sure it was upsetting. There's
a lot of other intricacies to this weird little controversy. Even the fact that they were getting married was actually like a huge deal because DC 3 years ago, in order to stop a lesbian wedding from happening, actually put a huge sanction on any major character getting married in the universe, which is why they canceled weddings the first time around, like I said, about 3 years ago. And it was legitimately just put in place in order to stop what was starting to go down the road of a possible lesbian wedding in their pages. And then like everybody called them out on it, and they were like, no, like we promised that this character like is I believe it was Batwoman was about to get married.
Yeah, of course.
And they were just like,
there's no doubt, man. Yeah. The dumbest fucking thing in the world, because you know what Marvel was doing 3 years ago? Mm-hmm. Fucking North Star was getting married.
Yes, exactly.
To a man. I received in the mail an invitation to that wedding.
Yeah,
like that was the marketing. It was like, welcome to Doom.
Well, and not to turn this into another DC versus Marvel conversation. I want to swerve away from this quick, but I will point out, like everything we've ever said about the movie universes, like I think this just proves that it's not just the movie side of things. This is legitimately the way that Marvel and DC, the way that they are in the world and the way that they handle things. DC just has no grasp, I think, on what their fans actually want. And again, back to that article with the talking head dude. I should find his name at some point. But essentially, he ended his entire quote with stealing a line from Nolan, being like, "This may not be what everybody wants, but this is definitely what they need," or something along those lines. And it's just like, fuck you, dude. First of all, don't steal the line. Secondly, how fucking dare you tell me what I want versus what I need when it's all about money? Like, this isn't medicine that you're giving me. Like, this is me offering to pay you for a thing that you've created. Don't tell me that you're going to not give me what I want when I pay you for it. You're just going to give me what I need instead. That was like the shittiest thing I've ever read. Yeah, it was crazy. So essentially, DC just kind of falls on its face a lot, and Arkham Knight is just another example of that. And so I can't believe that I hadn't gone back to it yet, though. So I went back to it now, and I don't know, man. From a gameplay perspective, it's great. Like, that's part of the reason why I'm fine going back to it and playing through it. Like, I love doing all of the stealth shit, and like the mini stuff on a small scale. The Arkham series has always been perfect for me. It's when you get to the large scale stuff where things start to really fall apart, and that goes even for City and Asylum too. There's some large scale stuff.
With Asylum, I would like to cite that, please, because I have big problems with City. But I mean, Asylum is one of those games that I think should be cherished and will always be cherished. So I guess the final boss fight is a piece of garbage.
Yeah, some of the ways that it plays with relationships and understandings of things, and they're so focused on getting the Joker right that then they really fuck up. They worry so hard about Joker as a character, but then inevitably have to make him into a video game villain. And so, like you're pointing out, like the ending becomes just atrocious for him, and that goes for story as well as. Like honestly, if they had taken the ending of Arkham City and just put that at the end of Arkham Asylum, then that game would be perfect for me. The fact that there's a lot of just weird stuff that way, and the way that, again, some of the other character interactions and the way that characters are portrayed in the Rocksteady universe just don't jive with some of the ways that I want, like as a fan. So there's just some of that too. But overall, like Arkham Asylum is still a 5 out of 5 game for me. Like, would play again this moment if it was in front of me, right? Like don't get me wrong there. But yeah, what's up?
What's up with what?
I don't know. You wanted to talk about some other sequel stuff though.
Oh, I did. I had a whole bunch of stuff, but I didn't expect you to have like such a nice in-depth thing. I have to have one comment. I have to ask you. So you've been reading this Batman comic book stuff, or just the article?
I have not been keeping up with Batman like regularly at all through any of this. I have ducked in and out though. So
okay.
Is there anything?
Right. So in universe, was Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle getting married, or was Batman and Catwoman getting married?
No, in fact, it was a huge part of the entire thing that in order to protect their identities, they were not going to get married as Bruce and Selina. They were going to get married in public as Batman and Catwoman.
Okay, so lame, friggin' lame. Just like to start, right? So you're already on shaky foundation. Question number 2 that I'd like you to try to answer for me, maybe, is was the wedding in universe actually going to be on July 4th?
Oh, I don't believe so. No, I don't think so. It just so happened that the release of the issue
was on that, and that's fine.
Yes.
Like that, I get that. Releasing the comic book on like a big day where like most people are going to have it off, so they start their day by going to their comic book shop, picking up their subscription, and then reading the book, and then having a barbecue to deal with the pain. Like, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. Yeah. But if in universe Batman and Catwoman were getting married on July 4th, fuck you. Fuck you! It's America's birthday.
I'll be honest. I can't say one way or the other. Maybe they were. Maybe Bruce Wayne.
Well, if you're out there, let us know. Let us know what date I was supposed to save if I were invited to the woman-man marriage.
Yeah.
Because also, like, you know how hard it is to get around Gotham City on a normal day. Then imagine how hard it would be to get along Gotham City on fucking July 4th. And then add in fucking Batman and Catwoman's wedding.
Yeah.
What, are they going to Bloodhaven for it? Right? Or are they getting married in Gotham City?
They'd go up north a bit.
God, Bloodhaven, I don't know where that came from. There's a word I have not heard in some time. All right. So I had other like story bits, and that is, first of all, Matthew Broderick from War Games is the hero modern America needs.
Okay. All right. I like this new hard swing approach. Forget segues. Okay, let's do this.
Well, because that's what I was gonna lead with, but then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go fucking nuts. I went nuts. Let's be honest. This starts with me raving like a lunatic for 3 minutes, and you being like, I'm just letting this happen.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't stop it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of friend I am.
Yeah, you're not the host companion we need, but we're the host companion we deserve. So I'm like, no, let's siege and talk for a little bit before I go nuts. So first of all, we live in the future. I say this all the time, but as I left work today, I placed a Domino's delivery order to be at my house for 5 o'clock. And it was there exactly at 5 o'clock. Like, not 4:59, not 5:01. I was sitting there watching War Games. It's the really fucking stressful scene in the beginning where they're testing the guys to see if they have the chutzpah to actually launch the missiles. And 22% of the people did not turn their keys. Which is like the whole like inciting action of War Games.
Yeah, right.
So it's like the whole thing. Friggin' John Spencer has a gun on him, and he's like, "The launch order has been given," and then knock on my door, and I'm like, "Motherfucker."
God, Jesus, oh God, that would scare the crap out of me.
And his pizza guy, and I'm like, "Oh, thank you," and I sign, and I get my pizza, and I look at the time, and I'm like, "That was impressive. This is the future that War Games warned us about." But this part's not so bad.
As he left and said, the only way to win is not to play, and then just jumped into his car and drove off.
Actually, he complained about how hot it is. And I'm like, yep, because we got some progress to make when it comes to small talk as humans. We can have pizza delivered exactly to a location at an exact time, but
we still have to rely on the weather.
For conversation. Yeah, it's something. So then I'm watching War Games, though, and Matt Broderick, first of all, it doesn't make any sense that he's so good with computers, but he's failing a science class. It's like, oh, okay, I guess, right? Maybe he's just bored, right? That's what they used to say about me. Devon's just bored in school. That's why he's failing. Actually, I didn't really fail.
He's a software guy. You're talking about hardware, right?
Yeah, no, it's just like one of those ridiculous. Plus, he's in biology too, which by the time I was in high school, biology 2 was an elective science.
Well,
you had to choose to take
I was thinking biology 2 is a class that you went into because you proved how good you were in biology 1. So right. So you got to be somewhat good at this shit, kid. What are you doing?
Yeah, so that part is weird. Plus, he's crazy good with computers. But the reason why Matthew Broderick is the character that we deserve in 2018 is because Ali Sheedy rolls up on her little moped and is like, "I'm sorry if I got you in trouble." And he's like, "No, it's fine. That went exactly like I planned," because he wanted to steal the computer friggin' password. like he's working on levels. And then she's like, do you want me to give you a ride home? And she's on a moped. It's like a dirt bike moped thing. And he's like, sure. And he he's not ashamed. He don't give a shit. He climbs on the back of Ali Sheedy's little dirt bike and lets her take him home. And it's like, that guy, that's the guy. He's not afraid to ride on the back of a motorcycle. He's almost going to start World War III, maybe. I've never actually seen the rest of War Games. I've seen War Games, but could you just imagine? I've seen up
and
until
everything works out okay for them, right? Nothing goes wrong the rest of that movie.
Yeah, Dabney Coleman gets computers installed instead of humans, and humans, as we all know, and computers can never have glitches or are completely infallible.
What a great resolution to this problem with modern man. Replace them all with computers, obviously. Well, don't have to watch the rest of this film, I guess.
Oh, wow. Dabney Coleman, you're a forward thinker. I hope in a Dragnet movie you play a salacious sex salesman.
Oh, God.
He does. Spoilers. Oh, Dragnet, that's a good movie. But yeah, so watching that, I'm just like, man, good for Matthew Broderick's character. David L. Lightman. That's his name. Lightman. Have you ever met a Lightman?
That wasn't a supervillain? No.
Oh, Lightman's a bad guy? Spoilers. I thought he was going to be... That's probably what happens to the wedding. He was going to be Batman's best man.
Oh, God.
Do you think Damian Wayne was going to be the flower boy?
Oh, for sure. No, this was actually, you're asking questions that were literally laid out and discussed in the comics. God. There was legitimate planning on who the best man was going to be. The comics have gotten weird, man.
Well, the best man is going to be friggin' Dick Grayson.
There was some conversation about it possibly being Clark.
Clark Kent?
Yeah.
No, fuck Clark Kent.
And then, of course, the Joker was in on that, too. He really wanted to be it. But it's...
maybe I could be your best man. I won't ruin your wedding.
Comics are weird, man. Comics are real weird now.
Come on, that was years ago that I tried to kill you. I don't know what his voice I'm doing for the Joker.
I love this Boris and Natasha version of the Joker.
I'm actually, this is new Joker voice. It's out there. Sell it to DC. They're in need of a different thing.
Yeah,
I'm just going to be like an overwhelmed everyman. Come on, Batman.
It's like Joker through J.K. Rowling,
Yeah, that's basically what it is. That is basically if I go and check the settings. Oh yeah. Oh, you had your J.K. Rowling switch still hit. Do you want me to fix that for you? Nah, we like him.
Potter.
Oh gosh. And okay, so then another comic thing, because again we're jumping all around. Go if you're pissed off about Batman and Catwoman, go read The Immortal Hulk. Which the second issue of that comes out on July 4th as well. And oh my God, Bruce is back. Spoilers, but kind of not, because it's called The Immortal Hulk.
Nice.
And it's good. And it's going back to the roots of fucking Hulk, where he's changing at night, not just because he's angry. and I'm all about that Hulk. Like, that's my Hulk.
Yeah.
.com.
Is he doing the Bill Bixby thing, like going into town, saving people, wandering off at the end of the day, or is he trying to solve some more bigger issue stuff?
So in the first issue, I mean, they totally are what's that word? Guilty of fridging. They fridge so hard in the first Immortal Hulk issue. A guy goes to rob a gas station, and we saw a 14-year-old girl walk in earlier trying to get a drink. And the guy who goes to rob it, the girl drops the drink, and it startles him, and he shoots her. And then he shoots the clerk, and then he shoots an unnamed man in a hooded sweatshirt. I wonder who that is.
Oh, God.
So all 3 bodies are taken to the morgue, and you're like, oh, I guess the Hulk's dead, right? Because that's probably the Hulk. And then nighttime comes, and the Hand awakens. So even though Bruce Banner has been dead because night has fallen, he becomes the Hulk. And then he goes and he finds that guy to get revenge for that little girl. And
weird, but cool.
And, I mean, it's,
yeah, man.
And well, because the other thing is that like the guy was put up to it by this biker gang that like was threatening to hurt his mom. Like they went to like the levels that like old comic books used to do to like try to make this dude sympathetic. But at the end of the day, he might die. Like, he broke every bone in his body. He killed the bikers outright. The Hulk just, like, ripped him in half. But then this guy, he's like, yeah, he dropped him off at the hospital. He'll probably never walk again.
So is the assumption now that he just can't go back to Bruce because Bruce is dead?
No, because when the light rises, he turns to stone. No, he becomes Bruce Banner again. And he's looking at himself in the mirror, and he's like, I can't die. Like, he's like, I have to deal with this. Am I man or am I monster? I am both.
Oh, God. All right, man.
But, like, the artwork is so fucking good. There's a splash page of the Hulk. The Hulk has never been bigger on paper. And I'm just like, and this is my Hulk, right? Like, I love Amadeus Cho as much as the next guy, as the awesome Hulk.
Yeah.
But like to go back to it, and also to like resurrect that old school I turn into the monster at night thing. I love that. Like, that is something. I mean, that's why gargoyles appealed to me, really.
Excellent. Very nice.
Yes. So here's the thing. Last week, Sejan, you've known me for a long time, right? I think we're edging up on like 14 years. What would you say the Devon Deckerist thing you've been a part of is?
Oh, God.
That's a question, right?
Yeah, probably adventures to Alabama for ribs. That might be the most Devon Decker thing, when we all just piled in a car and spent 3 days driving nonstop there and back just to get ribs at a restaurant.
How good were those ribs, though?
Oh, fantastic.
Will's had those ribs. Like, that's how you know your family, by the way. If we've had ribs together at the Dreamland in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, I'm probably going to ask you for a kidney someday.
Not going to tell you why. It won't be obvious, but I'll need it.
I'm going to need a kidney. No, I've already done the typing. That's why I went to you first. So that's a pretty Devon Decker thing, right? And that's the kind of stuff that happens to me, right? Like, I just do things. This past Wednesday, I think the most Devon Decker-ist thing that I can recall ever happened to me.
Oh. Okay.
So for Christmas, Dale and I were given jointly, this is a joint gift for both of you, a $50 gift certificate to Arugas, which is
what the fuck is Arugas?
So basically, it's less scumbag Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, I don't want to say that Buffalo Wild Wings is like for bros, but the advertising kind of makes it look like it is.
It's for bros. I'll say it. It's okay.
Yeah,
I don't think Buffalo Wild Wings is going to be too upset that we said it. Buffalo Wild Wings, you're a little broy.
I am definitely banned from the Buffalo Wild Wings at the Warwick Mall. So that's another story for.
It's okay. We don't need to tell it.
Yeah, I don't really want to tell that one on something recorded. Just know that I'm banned.
But let me tell you this: every Buffalo Wild Wings I've ever walked into, I've been half waiting for somebody to like run up with a bottle of Axe body spray and just douse me in it before I sit down. Like those restaurants you walk into and they're like, you can't come in here without a jacket, sir. Here, you wear one of the lesser jackets we have in the back. I like keep waiting for somebody to jump out and just be like, we can't allow you in the building unless you have this cool bod on.
No. All of the
Sorry,
food
but it
tastes
is
like
bod.
Cool Bod now.
Oh God. But yes,
So
Buffalo Wild
Arugas,
Wings can get a little broy. Yeah.
yeah, it's a little broy. Arugas, like the guys that I see there, it's like dudes after a day at the office, like who enjoy sports, having a beer. I see a lot more families at Arugas. Like I would like, and honestly, that's all right. So I'll give you like the super Cliff Notes versions of Buffalo Wild Wings. Is I said a swear word while at a Buffalo Wild Wings,
Right.
and another table complained about me saying that swear word.
And now Devon can't go back. Right.
And then I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, are you not watching what's happening? You're lucky that's the only thing I had to say to this person. And then I left, and security came around, and they're like, and I'm like, oh my God, I might get arrested for swearing at a Buffalo Wild Wings. And then they're like, we're not pressing charges. And the cop's like, maybe just don't go back to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Maybe
And I'm
just
like,
don't.
yeah, okay. This kind of feels like I just got banned from Buffalo Wild Wings.
Like, I don't want to push this issue anymore. I mean, the less time I have to spend talking to an authority figure, the better. But
Really, a manager talked down to my mother, and that really got on my nerves. In addition to my mother and the like assistant manager, I'm telling the story now. What the hell? Like again, like real Cliff Notey. The female like assistant manager came over, and her and my mother had come to like an agreement. Like, it's like, all right, well, what you did, like, is a problem, but you're going to take off this stuff from our bill. That's fine. Like, but, like, that's, you know. And then the manager came over and got involved when there was no reason for him to get involved.
yeah.
And, like, I'm like, you're not really needed here, sir. Like, you're totally cutting the legs out from under your assistant manager. And, like, I don't mean to be rude, but, like, she doesn't need a man to save her. And then he's like, you're not involved in this. I'm like, no, you're right. I'll be quiet. And then he like was dismissive of my mom. And I'm like, yeah, now I'm back in it. Because that's effed up.
You don't tell anyone within a group with a person having an issue at a restaurant that they don't get to get involved. Like that's the worst restaurant management I've ever heard.
It was
like
a really
turning to somebody else at the table and be like, this doesn't concern you. It's like the shittiest thing you could do to like well, actually now it does.
Yeah, like that was I'm like no, and then like because I was there with my family and my father was like, yeah, just be quiet, like don't get involved. Like, and I'm like, no, you're right. And then when he like talked down to my mother, like from that place of like, I am a man, you are a woman, how dare you? I'm like, no, that's fucked up. So that's why I can't go to Buffalo Wild Wings anymore.
But Arugas.
But Arugas exists. And it's so we were given jointly a $50 gift certificate to Arugas. And we used to go to Arugas all the time because on Wednesday nights they had 60-cent wings.
Nice.
And that included everything. Not like a lot of these wing places, they'll bring you in for like 50-cent wings, and the 50-cent wings will have bones in them, but for 75 cents you can get them boneless. And it's like, yeah, I'd prefer the bone in most times anyway, but I really just, that feels skeezy to me that you're getting me here under the guise of one thing and then trying to sell me that.
Like shitty marketing? Who would have thought?
I know DC must be in charge of these wing places. But so like Arugas, it was 60 cents. You could get any style of wings, per wing, 60 cents. And that was like really good. And not like a crazy like minimum. Like I've been to other places where it's like, yeah, it's a minimum of 10 wings. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. Like it's 5 wing minimum per sauce type. So like you could get like a really good deal there. But they discontinued that when football season started. So I'm like, you know what? I kind of get it. We found it in April, right? When like there wasn't a lot of sports going on except for baseball. Like it was right at the end of basketball hockey season. So maybe it was the beginning of May. So I'm like, if this is like what they do in the summer to get people in, I get that. I understand that. So we waited till the same time and we have this gift certificate. So we're like, let's go on Wednesday. Maybe they have the cheap wings again. So we go in on Wednesday, and I'm pretty, like, annoyed, like, right from the start, because the Rhode Island Lottery is there doing a presentation.
Oh, what?
And it's not, like, for Rhode Island Lottery. It is for the people who have, like, been unfortunate enough to go to Arugas this Wednesday. Like, oh, we're talking to you about our new app, Play Spot, allowing you to play Keno right from your phone.
Oh God.
We are not endorsed by Rhode Island Lottery or Play Spot.
Want to be, really.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh God, this is like, if I had known this was going on, cheap wings or not, I would be out. But then it's like, we have the gift certificate, we're already here. This is where we're having dinner. And it's like, yeah, no, I agree with you. And then a guy comes over from the Rhode Island Lottery group, and he's like, I know you guys just sat down, and I really don't like to just pounce on people like this. And I'm like, oh God. Like, oh God. He's like, but we're having a raffle in 10 minutes time, and if you enter, you can win an iPhone X. And I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, but like, I got to give you like 10 minutes, not a long time to enter. And he like
gives
me...
This is like my nightmare, Devon. Like trying to be out on my own, just trying to grab some dinner, and like strangers just forcing themselves on me. Like, this is the worst case scenario.
Yeah, right? It's pretty bad. So he gives me this like laundry list of things I need to accomplish in order to get my name entered into this raffle that is happening in 10 minutes time. And I do it.
Oh my God! Don't forget your blood sample.
I'm like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm all set. And I show him. And he's like, oh wow, you did that fast. And I'm like, yeah. So he sends another guy over. So in addition to the first guy I had to interact with, I have to interact with a second guy, and the waitress is training. So like we have two. So it's just like, oh my God, like it's like a perfect storm of like everything going wrong, right? Like I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get kicked out of Arugas, and then where will I go for chain chicken wings?
The universe is trying to make things right after you swore at a Buffalo Wild Wings manager. This is your punishment.
It's yeah. So that happens, and we I enter. The second guy comes over. I fill out the form. Whatever. So then Dale's trying to talk to me, and like we're having it, but they're still doing the Rhode Island Lottery thing. And she's like, why aren't you listening? I'm like, because I entered into this stupid raffle. I need to pay attention to it, right?
Now I can't pay attention to you at the table.
I don't want to win, and then like I'm not paying attention and I don't win, right? Like I've already like no, I need to fight back. This is Devon Decker standing up for Devon Decker's rights to come to this place and get chicken wings, which, spoiler alert, they're not cheap. They've completely done away with that whole thing. God. They have all-you-can-eat nights on Thursdays and Mondays for $13.99, all-you-can-eat wings.
So you showed up, this event was going on, and the sale you thought might be going on wasn't, and you guys still chose to sit there and eat?
Because we had a $50 gift certificate that was going to expire in July, and it's like, we're here. We're not coming back tomorrow. Like, what fresh hell might there be tomorrow?
Yeah, God. Devil you know, I guess, right?
The devil you know. So we're listening, and they pull the name, right? And it's not my name. And I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't win the raffle. And they're like, yeah, okay, you didn't win the grand prize. You won 2 tickets to the Comedy Connection. And she's like, oh, yay. Because, like, I'm pretty sure that those jamokes walking around the store only mentioned that you could win an iPhone. They did not mention that there would be other prizes.
Oh, God.
So all these people enter these raffles. So 3 raffles are pulled. And I am distracted. I am a terrible, like, conversation, dinner, like, companion to my sister because I'm paying attention to this stuff, right? Plus, like, I'm like, I just want it to be over, right? And, like, I know a watched pot doesn't boil, but this type of stuff, like, if you try to ignore it, it gets worse. It's like a weird inverse to, like, a watched pot doesn't boil. Like, if you're trying to ignore something annoying in a bar, it just continues.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if
exactly.
you've ever... Like, trivia? Oh, my God. All right, we're done with round 7 of trivia. And I'm like,
Try this.
how?
Try this. Try this. A watched pot never boils, but an ignored pot will boil over.
Ooh, that's nice.
Basically, see what I did?
I did. That was really good. You should put that in a limerick.
Oh, don't do that to me now. No.
No, not now. Like I'm like put it on a limerick and on a T-shirt. But you're right. Yeah. So there you go. Oh, that's really good. Like that was a real nice turn of phrase. So they're like, all right, now here's the final, and they pull the name, and they're like, Dean, and nobody moves.
Oh, God.
And he's like, maybe it's Devon? And I'm like, oh God, it's me. I just won this raffle. So I go up, and he's like, wait, you're really Devon? Devon Dean? And I'm like, yes. I need to see some identification.
Can I see some Dean Devlin? Hey, Dean Devlin, creator of such great classics as Leverage.
Yeah. So I have to show my license, and he's like, "Well, you just won yourself an iPhone X."
Wow.
And everybody at the bar kind of turned and glared at me because I had come in like 10 minutes before they gave this thing away. I completed a laundry list of requirements to enter into their like I'm not kidding when I'm like, you need to download the app, and then you need to register for an account, and then you need to activate the app with your account, and then you need to purchase 1 game worth of Keno, but we'll give you a coupon for that game of Keno, so make sure you flag us down once you're ready for that free game of Keno.
Oh my god!
So like, I'm like, yep, I'm fine. Like, I've already done. Like, I just need the free Keno thing. Like, I do this kind of stuff all the time, but like, you could tell that like every eye in the bar is now on me.
You're the asshole.
I'm the asshole because the guy comes over after I get it. He comes over our table. He's like, I've had people here since like 4:30. Who were here just to win that iPhone because you had to be present to win. And I'm like, I don't feel bad about that.
I mean, literally, that is luck of the draw.
Yeah,
Sorry.
like that's what a raffle is. But it was just like this weird experience where I'm like, this is it. Like, these are the kind of stories that I tell that people are like, you didn't win an iPhone, Devon. Go fuck yourself. And, like, usually I never feel that way. But, like, I feel that way about this story. That, like, this didn't really happen to me, right? It did.
Oh, man.
I assure you it did. But, oh, God.
We will post pics of the iPhone.
Dude, no. Best part. Like, honestly, I got the receipt with it. I'm returning that iPhone. I had an iPhone X. Like, I got one the day they came out, and I hated it.
Oh my god!
So like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but like, bye iPhone. Hello store credit at the Apple Store. I'm gonna buy iPads and wear them like shin pads. No, I won't do that. That'd be like, they would be terrible protection.
Oh man!
But that's what happened. And then like, we followed that up by going to Toys R Us. And that was a sad, like, sobering experience.
Wasn't it like the last day they were open or something?
It was the last day that the one in Warwick was open, yeah, because Thursday they were shutting down. They were not going to be open on the Friday.
Yeah.
And the really nice thing about that is that the assistant manager, who I've known for years, like David Howard is our mutual connection. I think I've mentioned that before. She was outside, like, taking a photo of it with tears in her eyes. And, like, we sat and had a real conversation for, like, an hour. Because, like, no one wants to hear about a person complain that their job is going away.
Yeah.
Like, in America. So I'm like, I was just, like, me and Dale sat there and let her talk. And she's like, thank you guys so much for just listening. Because, like, my mother doesn't get it. Like, she's like, you'll just get another job. And I was like, yeah, but I've worked here for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's,
yeah. No,
like,
the death of retail is not pretty for anyone involved, and the problem is nobody wants to hear about it. So yeah.
So like, so that was like this really cool thing. So I had this like weird, almost out of body experience at Argus, and then I had like a really human face to face interaction at Toys R Us. So that was like the most Devon decorous night I think I've ever had.
Very nice, man. Whew. Yeah, no, my week was not as mind-blowing as that. You saw 4 sequels this weekend, though,
I saw 4 sequels this weekend, and that's why it's called the Sequel Report. And we started out with, first of all, I saw Uncle Drew on Thursday. Not a sequel.
Not a sequel.
But fucking awesome. And you want to know why it's fucking awesome? Because they're not actors. So
Right.
there's no scene where you see Kyrie Irving out of the makeup. There's no scene where fucking Spider-Man takes off his mask on a goddamn subway car, revealing his identity to literally everybody on the F train. Like, there's none of that because they don't care. Like, they know that, oh, it's Kyrie Irving in makeup. That's why I want to see this movie.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have the same type of ego that an actor has.
No, there's very much a sense of, I've gotten this since the beginning with this particular project. It seems like everyone involved knows exactly what this is and is just in it for the fucking fun of it.
And
like,
and everybody has like nothing but fun. And it's great. Like, it's one of the movies that I saw this weekend, it is the one that I am most excited to go back to.
nice.
Like, when it's on HBO, I'm going to sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
Where like I finally saw Incredibles 2 on Friday.
Hey.
And I liked Bao even better the second time. And there's a lot of
Nice.
controversy surrounding Bao. Maybe we'll address it in another episode. But we're already like running real long this week.
Nice.
And I liked it. I saw a lot of the plot twists coming literally the second they introduced the character. But what are you gonna do?
I have to say that I knew that there was going to be. I mean, you know, anybody that hasn't seen it, go out and see it.
Oh yeah,
I knew that there
spoilers
was
for
going to
Incredibles
be.
2.
I knew there was going to be a twist for Incredibles 2, and you were going to see something happen with the siblings. But I was actually more surprised that Bob Odenkirk's character there. What's his name? Seen the movie twice. And I can't remember his name.
Winston.
Yeah. When Winston's
Devereaux.
just great till the end, and so that was really cool to see.
Oh
so,
no,
I knew there was a
not
twist was coming, but-
was it? I'm trying to think what the last name is because her name is Evelyn, and it's like evil. Damn it, evil. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it's like that. It's like her name is a nice little pun that also gives it away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but that's not why. The second she came on screen, I'm like, bad guy. That's a bad guy.
And
everyone in the theater was like, boo.
It's the circle under her eyes. Honestly, there's no character that's a good character that looks overworked and you know what I mean? Like,
that's very true. That's a good point.
Like when they're first introduced, if they look overworked, it's because they've been up to no good. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it was like the fact that she like skulked in.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, she's a skulker, bad guy.
Yeah, but overall, man, some of those action scenes, huh?
Oh, the action was really cool. A lot of people, I did not mind the fact that it picked up right after the last one, especially because they kind of picked up with it as like the cold open with Deckard. So like it made sense the way that they did it. And if it had followed the Underminer for like the whole movie, that would have been fucking garbage.
Yeah.
But using it as like just a bridge to the next event, that worked fine for me. Plus, he's still out there. So all you people who are like, Incredibles 3, you got to restore the. It needs to be the Incredibles 3. Because how dare you drop the for Incredibles 2. Real things I've heard from people. Yeah, so I liked it. But again, like it's basic Pixar sequel. It's safe. Yeah. It plays it safe. And that's the sort of thing that I find disappointing.
I think the big thing that it does is it retells the first movie, but what it does is it switches the gender roles, and I think that's their big push. Like I think that's their big hook for Incredibles 2 is the way that they focus on her as the hero out there doing the things as opposed to being the stay-at-home mom, and they focus on him as the stay-at-home dad. I think that's the only thing that they were trying to do to really push it forward, and I think they do it. I just think that we've hit a point where that's not a very progressive move anymore. I mean, it's still progressive. Like I don't want to take that away from them, but it's not a hard move. So it doesn't feel like there's much progress from the first movie.
What's progressive about it is in terms of storytelling. Not like the story that's being told is, you know, we've seen this before, but the justification that they have as to why it's her and not him makes nothing but sense.
Oh, yeah.
Like the fact that you're like, we did a risk analysis and no.
Yeah, like I said, they do it really well, and it's really smartly done. I just don't think it's as strong of a move as it would have been, say, 5 years ago. So, like, I think it ends up actually kind of losing a little oomph in that particular place. But other than that, I love the movie. But I think that's probably why it's not a 10 out of 10 for me, is because the only really progressive move in it is one that would have been great a while ago, but they just never got around to making it till now, you know?
I get you.
But yeah. So what else you see?
So what else I saw? I don't know the year. It must have been 2014. It was 2014. I do know the year. I don't know why I acted like I didn't. Escape Plan was my number 3 movie of the year.
Nice.
And Escape Plan 2 was announced, and I was very excited about it. And then it came straight to DVD on a Friday release.
Yes.
Which I don't want to poop on Walmart, but when I go into the Walmart to like and say, do you have any copies of Escape Plan 2? Because they're not on the shelf. And they're like, when does it come out? And I'm like, it came out today. And they're like, oh, that probably means like midnight tomorrow. And I'm like, no, that's not how anything works.
That's not how that
Nope.
works. No, no. What their problem is that Tuesday is their day to switch everything over, so they'll wait till Tuesday to put it out. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they don't have it. It just means it's just not going to be out on the damn floor because the damn floor plan doesn't change till Tuesdays. I hate that.
Well, did you
Lazy.
hear about Joy-Con Gate at Walmart over the weekend?
No, God, what did they do?
They were trying to change the price of Joy-Cons to $69.99. And in addition, an off-brand
Who is they?
Walmart.
Walmart
was
but not
changing their
Nintendo.
price. Not Nintendo,
So-
right?
Okay.
So they wanted to change it from $79.99 to $69.99. But in addition to price changing the Joy-Cons to that amount, they also wanted to change and get rid of all their off-brand Switch controllers. Like they just want to have Nintendo first-party stuff.
Okay.
So they took a controller that was like $60 and they made it $24.88.
Oh,
And
ouch.
they also made that change to the pink and green Splatoon Joy-Cons.
Oh no.
And Twitter got a hold of it. It was midnight as I lie in my bed after watching Escape Plan 2 because, just to jump back, I went to the Red Box located in the Walmart and rented it.
Idiots.
Like, this is fun, and I'm not bringing back to this Walmart. Like, it's going to a Cumberland Farms or something.
You're going to a better place, my friend.
And yeah, and we'll talk about it. But so midnight, I see someone tweet out about this, and it was like 8 hours ago, and I'm like, oh, there's no way that I'm going to be able to take advantage of this, right? But I'll check, right? Like BrickSeek exists. There are ways to check inventories, and the Newport Walmart had 2 in stock.
No.
And they close at a normal time because they're on an island, which is strange, but they were closed. But I saw what time they open, which is 7 in the morning. So I got up at 6 on Saturday, and I was outside of that Walmart at 6:45, and I was the first person in line before that Walmart opened at 6:50, like 5. Like I actually got out of my car. And then some other people come, and I walk with purpose to the electronics department, and there are 2. And I'm like, oh, I might just buy 2 of them, right? Like,
Yeah.
if the price is the price. And then this person comes over and goes, oh, my God, are you here for the Joy-Cons? And I go, yeah. And they go, can I have one? And I'm like, yeah, of course you could have one. Well, you're here at 7 in the morning, too. Like, I'm not going to take it all. I'm not a monster. So I ended up getting not that I need Joy-Cons, but that price is too good, right? It's like $80 for a set.
Idiots. I can't believe they did that.
But the best part about it is that they sold out of them everywhere. Like by the time I got home from Newport Walmart, and I drove all the way around the bay. Like I made a morning of it. Like it was really nice. I went down over to 24. I went over the Sacanet Bridge.
We're gonna do this.
the
We're gonna
Braga
bookend the episode with a tour of Rhode Island.
Oh yeah, that, and then I'm like, this is a really nice morning, and then it turned into a fucking heat wave. But I was home with my new Joy-Cons, so it doesn't matter. But by the time I got home, they were sold out everywhere. And then the best part was Reddit is we figured out what happened, and they detail that someone changed the price incorrectly, and Joy-Con Gate is real.
Wow.
So that's what you get,
it.
Walmart. That's what you get for telling me Escape Plan 2 is not available.
So you got to see it. I'm glad you got to see it.
So I got to see it, and spoilers for that. Well, I don't know. It's not as good as the first one, which is disappointing.
You don't say. Somebody saw it and thought, maybe we don't put this in theaters, and it's not as good as the first one was.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It's not as good as the first one until the reveal of where the prison is.
Oh, God.
So it's called Escape Plan 2 Hades, right? And my joke was Sylvester Stallone is going to die and go to hell, and then he's going to have to escape from hell. Because that way you can bring back Jim Caviezel, obvious MVP of Escape Plan. He's the devil's right-hand man.
Excellent.
That'd be so good. That's not what happens. Hades stands for High Asset Detention System. That's stupid, right? Because
I don't agree with that, but okay, I'll allow it, I guess.
And John Tucker is in it, the guy who plays Jesse Metcalf. John
Nice.
Tucker from John Tucker Must Die. So I'm totally on board with this movie. I'm all over this movie, even though it's not as good as the first one. But then at the very end, You have David Bautista busting in and saving them with Sylvester Stallone, and Jesse Metcalf in all of his John Tucker like naivetés, like, where are we? And Sly Stallone goes, do you want to tell him? And he goes, I'd really rather not. And then Sylvester Stallone looks at the camera, which represents Jesse Metcalf's POV, and goes, we're underneath Atlanta.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, that's perfect. Because do you know where Ray Breslin, Sly Stallone's character, office is set up?
Atlanta.
So, like, but in the movie, I mean, huge spoilers for Escape Plan 2. I did not say that beforehand, and I'm sorry, but, like, if you were cared about Escape Plan 2, you saw Escape Plan 2.
I was going to say, Devin, I don't think anybody cares, but it's okay. Keep going.
It is the fact that, like, they go to Geneva, they go to Hong Kong, they go to China, they go to Vietnam. Like, they go all over the world just for the prison to be in their backyard. And so it's like this beautiful payoff to, like, all of these weird, like, exterior shots that it, like, oh, it's so good. It's Escape Plan 2, all about it. And then I saw Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation.
Nice.
Which doesn't come out till July 13th, but there was a special showing for Amazon Prime members.
I'm legitimately jealous.
Dude, I'm not going to say anything about it because everybody should go out and see Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation.
Nice.
It is so freaking good. And it is good. Like, it was really good. Like, it was such a good film. I'm excited that it's going to be out in 2 weeks so I can see it again.
Yeah,
like,
man.
it's as good as you think it's going to be. And then the last movie that I saw, because this is the sequel report, is Sicario: Day of the Soldado.
Nice.
Now, 2014, another movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been 2015. I'm not sure. Sicario. And Sicario was my top 3 worst movie of the year that it came out. I did not like Sicario at all.
I don't think that it was like the gangbuster film that everybody seemed to be talking about it as, but I didn't think it was that bad. Shit, what did you like about it?
What I didn't like about that movie, the reason why it was at the number 3 worst film I saw the year I saw it, is 100% because of the film Everest, which is like, and both of them have Josh Brolin in it. And Josh Brolin in Everest is so good that it made me hate Sicario even more. That I'm just like, why? Like, why? Like, this is what he's capable of doing in, like, a meandering semi-docudrama. Why was he, like, so, like, I know he can act. That made me hate Sicario. And, like, and on top of that, the biggest issue for Sicario, and I'm sorry, Sicario, because, like, I after seeing Soldado, I love the series again. They pulled the, like, Kingsman. I brought up Kingsman: The Golden Circle at the beginning of the episode because I think it's rare for me to go to a sequel to a movie I did not like and enjoy it more than the first one. Like, enjoyed it all, really. Because the first Kingsman movie, it lost me right in the middle. And it was unable to pull me back. I think we've talked about it before. If we haven't, there's a scene in a church that lost me, like, irreparable. Apparently, scenes in churches do that for me. But so, like, completely lost me. But then the second one came out on Dale's birthday, so we had a big movie birthday party for her where she brought a bunch of her friends and our family went to go see it. And, like, that movie's excellent. The Golden Circle is so good. And that's how I feel about Soldado. Because the big issue with Sicario is Emily Blunt had fucking lit the world on fire in Edge of Tomorrow.
Right.
So they decided, we're going to market it that she's the lead of this movie.
Even though
she's the audience surrogate.
Right.
She doesn't do anything in that film except for react. And it's like, this is awful. Like, I was upset because I was expecting to see her kick ass again, the way she had in Edge of Tomorrow. I almost called it Live, Die, Repeat. The way that she did it in Edge of Tomorrow, and I'm like, I'm excited to see this type of story because it's more grounded in reality, right? But no, it's Benicio del Toro's story, and that's like Soldado. They wore that right on their sleeve. That, like, is all going to be all about Benicio del Toro's character. Former Sicario, now Soldado. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll watch that, right? Like, I liked him enough as a character. It's just that he doesn't show up till halfway into the first movie, and he's the main character.
Yeah. Man, excellent though. I'm glad that you came back around on it. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's great that I came back, and actually I'm excited to watch Sicario again because I'm hoping, like, knowing where it's gonna go, it will elevate it for me. Something that didn't happen with Kingsman: The Secret Service, but you know, hit or miss. What are you gonna do? Plus, I've been meaning to watch Sicario again, knowing that Emily Blunt is not the main character.
Right.
Because I feel like that will change the viewing experience.
Yeah, maybe that's why it worked for me, is because I didn't know much about it going into it. Like, I knew Emily Blunt was being marketed as the main character. I knew enough about that, and for all intents and purposes, story-wise, she is. But you're right, when it comes to the actual, like, moving action of that movie, like, she's not really. She doesn't push the movie forward or stop it. She doesn't do much.
She's Diane Chambers, not Sam Malone. That's all I'm saying.
There you go. But yeah, like, so I didn't really have this, like, I didn't go into it to see an Emily Blunt action movie, so I didn't have any of that when I saw it, which is probably why it sat just fine with me. Like I said, I didn't seem to. I mean, like, when I walked out of it, I was like, that was really cool. I wouldn't mind watching that again if it was on somewhere, right? But like, everybody was talking about Sicario as if it was like going to change the way that action movies were made again. Like, I was like, okay, I don't know about that.
No, that was John Wick. Close though, guys.
I mean, enough for them to greenlight a sequel pretty quickly and all of this. So, like, I also wasn't surprised when Little Jim came out, and I'm glad it's doing well too.
They actually they greenlit a trilogy on the heels of the first one.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's what I mean.
And then they're both Uncle Drew and Soldado overperformed this weekend.
Yeah.
So like, and to the point that like, and this is the thing that like really like vindicated my feelings, is that Sicario 2. Day of the Soldado did $7 million more in its opening weekend than Sicario did.
Nice.
And like, I mean, a lot of times with sequels, you don't have that.
No, you have drop off.
Yeah.
You have diminishing returns. Yeah, for sure.
So very exciting weekend of sequels. And then I watched, War Games. I told you about that, and pizza, and now we're just going in a circle. So if you have anything to say about anything that we talked about this episode, we'd love to hear from you. We can be found on Twitter at The Say Report, or if you want to yell at me specifically, and I invite it, bring it on, you can get me at Devon D. Decker.
And then if you want to yell at me in a similar fashion, but maybe not nearly as unpredictable as the first time around, then you can yell at me at Siege versus the World.
That was very clever. I like what you just did there. Alrighty, and now to Will for something completely different.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Stephen Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.
It's not going to be different.